Hey, basketball fans. Basketball season is back, and you know exactly what that means. It's time for you to put your basketball knowledge to the test with one-day fantasy basketball at DraftKings.com. You don't draft a whole team and you're committed to it the whole season. Just one-day fantasy basketball at DraftKings. You can be part of the action every single night. With DraftKings, there are so many different ways to play. You can choose between a public contest where everyone's in it, you're all vying for a huge cash prize, or you can invite your friends and just have a private contest where you can take on your friends. DraftKings has beginner and casual contests where you'll play with people of a similar skill level. You will not start swimming with the sharks. You will develop your skills first. Drafting your team is super simple. You select 8 players to play that night, and you stay under a $50,000 salary cap. The best part is you draft a new team every single day. You get points the way they get points: scoring, assists, block, rebounds, steals, and other stats. There's no better way to turn your love of basketball into cold, hard cash tonight. Hurry to DraftKings.com now. Use the code JALEN and play free with your first deposit for your share of $10,000 in total prizes tonight. That's code JALEN, Jalen, to play free with your first deposit only at DraftKings. The game inside the game. A minimum of $5 deposit is required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood. Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me a boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, though?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together, we are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we do, Mr. Rose?
We get to find individuals that have supported this program 6 years. Exactly what they want, when they want it, when they need it. Whether podcast, radio, or television.
It seems like every single day there's new Kyrie Irving news. So we have a new segment. It's Kyrie Gate Day 28. It's been 28 days since it's been reported that Kyrie
didn't happen.
No.
Are we going to act like Deflategate didn't happen?
No, it's Kyrie Gate. You put a gate at the end of it, makes it a thing, Jalen Rose. Trust me. 28 days ago, Kyrie Irving, it was reported that he said he wanted to trade. Seems like we've been obsessively talking about it ever since. So the latest news in Kyrie Gate here on day 28 is this from ESPN. Quote, the Cavaliers find themselves far more fixated on a young star, including New York's Kristaps Porzingis, Boston's Jason Tatum, Phoenix's Josh Jackson, and Denver's Jamal Murray, league sources told ESPN. Is this something or nothing, Jalen?
Hit the brakes.
Oh, okay.
First off, they're not trading Kyrie Irving for Tatum.
I love Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray's so excited. Jamal Murray's so excited to be in this report. He's like, oh, me? Like, you put me with them? Oh, okay. Yeah, Tatum is like,
that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like good theater, and you want to diversify the report and talk about different teams that may be in play.
You have to. It's only day 28. We got to come up with something.
So here's the thing. If you're the Cleveland Cavaliers right now, you're in the driver's seat. They've accomplished things as an organization that not many people get a chance to achieve. They've been to 3 straight NBA Finals. They've won the city of Cleveland its first professional championship in 50 years.
Had the parade.
They have the top player in the game in LeBron James. They have 2 other All-Stars in Kevin Love and the aforementioned Kyrie Irving, who has 2 more years left on his contract, which means 1 more year after LeBron James leaves. They have plenty of time to get this ironed out and not to panic on a move. And the names I just mentioned to you will not get a deal done. Now, if you're the Knicks, you still don't do that deal because Kristaps Porzingis is a 7-footer. So pump the brakes. It may get done, but you don't have to rush to do it.
Well, then we have this report, which I find really interesting. This is from Tony Rizzo of ESPN Cleveland. Great name. He said that Kyrie, I'm going to give you a quote. Listen, from very reliable sources, plural, Kyrie and LeBron were in the same room over the weekend in Florida. Apparently these guys were in the same room, and here's the deal. I don't know if there's a thawing out process. All I know is LeBron didn't punch Kyrie the way that it was reported. Okay, the punching stuff aside, this has since been sort of questioned by other people. Do you actually think that Kyrie and LeBron had a secret meeting?
I don't.
I don't think so either. I mean,
I don't think that took place.
I don't have any proof that they didn't or they did, but I just don't see that happening. Why don't you think it happened?
My personal proof, if they had a meeting, I think I'd know.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm going by. So that's what I'm basing my answer on. But if it did take place and it was a secret meeting, I understand what the premise that they would try to get accomplished in that said meeting would be. They talked a lot of bad stuff about Dan Gilbert.
Yeah, exactly. They got one thing in common. They both want to leave Cleveland. Yeah. That's what it was. It's not like, hey, let's get this together. Let's win a championship. Let's figure out how we're going to work together on and off the court. Let's mend these fences. It's like, let's just get together and complain about Dan Gilbert.
That's what happens when players-only meetings take place. All they do is complain about the coaches in the organization.
Of course. That's it. And then they try to rise above it. Of course.
And so for those two players, they're mature and professional enough and had enough success together and respect for one another, regardless to whether Kyrie still wants to play there or not. You got to understand something that LeBron has done that's been not only great, which makes him an all-time player, but he's done something that most people aren't able to do as a successful athlete. He's either disabled or disarmed his competition. Anytime you lose to Kevin Durant in the NBA Finals and y'all playing pickup a couple of weeks later, it's all good. Mm-hmm. Playing with Melo, banana boating with Chris Paul, it's all good. And so the level of disdain as fans and as players, I want it as well. That you want people to have for the opponent. Not only did LeBron shatter that with the way he's handled his free agency, being a top player, taking one-year deals, being an MVP, leaving one team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, to go to the Miami Heat. He also has the LeBron James basketball camp. And you know what takes place each summer? A lot of your favorite high school, collegiate, and now professional players have actually gone through that system. And they learn a lot and they look up to LeBron. And in this case, regardless to whether Kyrie still wants to be his teammate or not, he falls into that category. So it wouldn't be surprising if they're able to have a respectful conversation about each other's future.
But it didn't happen. Chris Sheridan sent the NBA Twitter world in a bit of a tizzy yesterday by sending a tweet that he heard that it is a 100% chance LeBron James is leaving. Well, that report was then denied by LeBron James's camp. And then Sheridan, guess what? He's backing up Sheridan's reporting. Here's what he tweeted this time. Quote, one follow-up tweet on LeBron leaving Cleveland next summer. Denials from his reps are disingenuous. They must lie to protect his image. Do you think Sheridan had this right and then LeBron's camp said no? Or do you think LeBron is like, you know what? I'm not 100% about anything. Who knows? Tomorrow's not promised. So reporting that I'm 100% is actually inaccurate.
What makes it inaccurate is the 100% part. Mm-hmm. The only thing that possibly, even on a reality television show, Jerry Springer, when they come out with the pregnancy test, that's not even 100%.
Exactly. And
before you know it, they get to fighting and everything.
If they trade Kyrie and bring in a bunch of players that LeBron loves, and then someone gets hurt in the Warriors and they win a championship, LeBron can stay. It's not off the table. Is it 100%? No. But there's things that could happen that could make staying in Cleveland a lot more attractive to LeBron James. If they do trade Kyrie, they'll run it by LeBron, and they bring in some people that LeBron loves, and it ends up gelling and working in Cleveland, and he looks around and says, I got my man Tristan here, I've got Kevin Love here, I've got J.R. Smith here without a shirt on, and these new players, and we just won a chip. I could definitely see him staying. That said, probably not going to stay. Let's be honest. So we're going to talk about the Timberwolves for a little bit. The Timberwolves had one of the most interesting off seasons of recent memory. They kind of went from not in the playoffs, not really in playoff contention, to, we could host a playoff series. It's not out of the question. And they made some moves. The first thing they did, acquire Jimmy Butler and the number 16 pick for Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn, and Lauri Markkanen. That was the number 7 pick. First thing about this big trade, Jalen Rose, is why did the Bulls do this?
Let me talk about the Bulls side. They're rebuilding. And Markkanen is going to be a player. A lefty, a stretch 4-5 in the Eastern Conference, going to be able to get his shot off. I think he has really good potential. Chris Dunn is going to continue to grow into his game. A really good defender. Strong on the perimeter, must improve his jump shot. I think he has what it takes to be a starting point guard in a league filled with great players at that position.
Mm-hmm.
But you do the deal for Zach LaVine. He averaged 20 points last year. We all know about his exploits as a high flyer.
You
but
love
there's way
Zach
more
LaVine.
to his game than that.
You love Zach LaVine. Like there's like 7 or 8 players which are just Jalen's guys, and Zach LaVine is one of them. I never fully understood why you love him so much, because usually your guys are a little tougher, play hard defense. You know, like this guy doesn't really fit the typical Jalen Rose guy mold. But I know you do love Zach LaVine, and you have ever since he came into the league.
And so he's going to be getting buckets in Chicago, and he's going to turn a lot of heads this year. But if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, you play in the West.
Mm-hmm.
And for some strange reason, Tom Thibodeau was that person. He sold the house, but he was still watching it on the market. And he was Airbnb it every chance he got. And when the value shot up, he bought it back.
He just got it back.
How did the Bulls let him turn around and get not only Jimmy Butler, but understood that Taj Gibson was going to shake loose and got him too?
It got him too. And that's the thing. It's like, I remember the day it was announced that Thibodeau was going to the Timberwolves. You said, I remember we were in Bristol. You said, watch them get Jimmy Butler. And then you said, wait a second, they're not going to get Jimmy Butler because the Bulls would never trade Jimmy Butler to Tom Thibodeau. And now here we are, literally 2 years later. Right about, I think it was July, right? 2 years ago.
Yes.
2 years later, or 1 year. I'm going to go 1 year. And Jalen Rose ends up being right. When's Michael Jordan going to play in that game, by the way?
That's very nice. He and Wiggins, who has all-star potential, is about to get a max deal.
Yep.
With an anchor down low in Karl Anthony Towns, 18-10, couple of blocks, improved three-point shooter. Jamal Crawford, we all know he can get his shot one-on-one as a six-man extraordinaire in the league, the only guy to win that award 3 times. Jeff Teague was an all-star just a couple of years ago on the Hawks team that won 60 games.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've truly solidified and balanced their roster. Gorgie Jang, I like him up front.
They do lack a little depth. You know what I mean? I think their second unit is going to give up a lot of leads. They've got Jamal Crawford there who can score, doesn't really play defense. And then you've got Dang down low. And then you start talking about guys like Tyus Jones, Cole Aldridge. It starts to get a little light. But for where they've came from last year to this year, they probably are the team that advanced the most this offseason. I'd say the Rockets probably did pretty well by
hit the brakes.
I'm trying to think, man.
Let me help you think. The team advanced the most that re-signed KD,
Don't say
Steph.
it. They didn't advance. They stayed the same. They re-signed, but they didn't advance. They stayed the same. They got Nick Young.
Those guys.
I'm going to keep interrupting.
This is what I mean by advance. Do you think Steph, KD, Draymond, Clay have reached their prime yet?
No.
Okay. So they advance. How about
semantics?
This?
I'm using the word correctly.
Steve
You use it
Kerr
correctly all the
even.
time. It's just semantics.
Steve Kerr is going to be back on the sideline.
Good for him. I love Steve Kerr.
But I get where you're coming from. The Minnesota Timberwolves had an amazing offseason. And obviously you got to mention the Houston Rockets when they get CP3. You got to mention the Oklahoma City Thunder. They got Paul George. The number 1 seed in the East, Boston Celtics, adding Gordon Hayward.
So there's also this from the Timberwolves. And you think about all these names they added, Butler, Teague, Gibson, Crawford. That comes at a cost. But I'm going to say some players that they lost, that subtracted, and then you're going to tell me if they're going to miss him or not.
I know one thing, the Clippers gained something. A Kardashian.
Where's the that's cute, man?
That's cute, man. That's cute.
There it is. So I'm going to say a name, and you're going to tell me whether or not they're truly going to miss him. Ricky Rubio.
Not going to miss him.
Shabazz Muhammad.
Not going to miss him.
Adrian Payne.
Not going to miss him.
Omri Caspi.
Not going to miss him.
Jordan Hill.
Not going to miss him.
Exactly. Brandon Rush. So
Not
they've
gonna miss him.
added these players. You've added Jimmy Butler. You've added T. Gibson and Crawford. And the rosters, the spots that you lost, not particularly devastating. And this is interesting. The Timberwolves have missed the playoffs for 13 straight seasons. 13 straight
And correct
seasons.
me if I'm wrong,
You're probably wrong.
but a few of those guys haven't latched on the teams just yet.
No, not all. No, they're free agents. A lot of them are. Yeah, it's not like they all got scooped up real quick. I think Yeah, I think
Omar
Muhammad
Caspi is with the Golden State Warriors.
I think he's the only one who really has a team. Yeah. I heard Jordan Hill might have gone somewhere. I don't have him in front of me right now. But they haven't made the playoffs in 13 seasons, Jalen Rose. 13 seasons. That's a long time. That's almost a decade and a half. The days of Kevin Garnett and Stephon Marbury are long behind Timberwolves fans. Does that 13-season drought end this year?
It ends this year. And the thing about their squad, now the key is going to be how high is the ceiling of Andrew Wiggins? Like, I understand what Karl Anthony Towns is going to grow into.
Okay.
He's going to be a dominant big. Turns over both shoulders, grabbing boards.
Not just that, too. You can get
Protecting
from
on the
17.
defensive end.
He'll make a first step, one dribble, and dunk on the help defender.
I know what I'm going to get from him. But I need to see Wiggins play with that level of ferocity to match his athleticism on the defensive side of the basketball. That's what I want to see from him.
Well, one thing you will see is this team in the playoffs, and they will finish that 13-season playoff drought. Jalen Rose, there's something I wanted to discuss with you. Aretha Franklin, you familiar?
Aretha Franklin.
She's moving to downtown Detroit, and she wants to open up a nightclub that she performs in. Do you support this?
I do support it. The unique thing about certain professions, as long as you can turn on the music, as an artist, you can perform forever.
You think so?
Have you ever seen artists perform 30 years after the song came out? It happens every day.
Of course.
Especially in the Motor City. You got to come to Shane Park during the summer and check out some of these shows we be putting on.
I always think about, like, imagine you had a hit song, and 40 years later, all people want you to do is sing that same song that you've been singing for 40 years. Like, that's all they want. And you're making thousands of dollars just singing the same song. I think that would drive me absolutely crazy. It would drive me nuts. And they always want to play their new stuff because they're so proud of their new stuff. No one wants to hear your new stuff, man. Just play the hits. Play Rico Suave, dude. I don't care if you got new songs. Geraldo. What's his name? What's the Rico Suave artist's name?
I thought that was his name.
I think it was Geraldo. Yeah. Like, no one cares about your new songs, Geraldo. Play Rico Suave. Can the staff Google? Can they please Google and find out what Geraldo's doing right now? Gerardo, sorry. I'm sorry. I got his name wrong. I apologize.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I'm so happy, I feel like I can fly.
Disclaimer, you will not be able to fly by switching to Geico. This is against the laws of physics and nature. If you find yourself flying, please seek professional and or medical help immediately. In the unlikely event you find yourself flying, you might be a superhero, or a pigeon, or a superhero named Pidgewoman, who was bitten by a radioactive pigeon. If you are indeed Pidgewoman, Geico retains all licensing publishing rights in the event Pidgewoman the movie becomes a top-grossing Hollywood blockbuster.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Jalen Rose, you were the first one to really say this on wax, that White House visits are going to change a little bit with the current regime that is now in D.C. Well, that story's starting to bubble up again. Kevin Durant was in Seat Pleasant, Maryland. He had Kevin Durant Day and the Larry O'Brien Trophy, top down, driving through his old stomping grounds. And the Undefeated caught up with him and asked him about a White House visit. And he said, quote, "Nah, I won't do that. I don't respect who's in office right now." You were ahead of this story. And then I was ahead of what is going to happen. I said, they're not going to get invited. Simple as that. Like, not only are they not going to show up, they're not going to get invited. So, do you think that these sort of open statements by one of the two or three most prominent players on the NBA championship team saying that he would not attend will lead to the Golden State Warriors not being even invited to attend a White House visit?
I think that's what's going to take place. And after 7 months, this president, number 45, has the lowest approval rating of any president at this point of his tenure. And if you look at a lot of the turmoil that we're facing as a country right now, I haven't seen it like this since I've been on this earth in 1973. And him not inviting teams, in particular from the NBA and the NFL, because he understands that he is an unpopular president right now, would probably be the wise thing to do, because he got a lot of other things to worry about.
Yes. Nuclear apocalypse.
No question about it. It's truly unfortunate, a lot of things that have taken place, but I understand where KD is coming from. There will be people that feels like, hey, you should go, because use that platform to now say what you want to say to the president, since you're going to be in front of him. But KD, I'm going to get plenty of chances to go.
Yeah, also,
I'm on the Warriors.
I'm on the Warriors. You see our roster? I'll be back.
And we're going to wait till he leaves. Because a lot of times, if you don't denounce something, you're endorsing it. So I applaud his courage.
So LeBron and Savannah did a little interview in Vogue. I don't normally read Vogue magazine. You know, it's not one of my go-tos. But there's a very interesting quote. Quote, "Me and my wife are different, but at the same time we're the same. I'm gone a lot, so she is the boss of the household. She's the rule setter. It's hard for me to go on the road for 2.5 weeks and then come home and tell my kids, look, this is how it should be done, when she's been home every day." That got me thinking, Jalen Rose, as someone who has some experience with this. How hard is it to balance parenting and being a professional athlete?
Oh, it's virtually impossible in certain situations, especially when you're not in a relationship with your kid's mom and they live in a different state. It creates a whole unique dynamic. So for LeBron, who's happily married, has kids, she's the rock of the family. And I appreciate them doing this article on them, because I've always talked about them being the first family, and appreciating the fact that regardless of everything he's able to juggle for public consumption, we continue to see him be a son, a dad, a husband, a philanthropist, an entrepreneur. And the person that allows all of that to take place is his lovely wife. So I always made sure I big up them as many times as I got, as many opportunities as I've gotten, and I'm glad they got a chance to get this feature.
Giancarlo Stanton is on a tear. He hit a home run in 6 straight games. That streak ended, but he is on a tear. Well, he probably won't get to 61 home runs. It's interesting that he has set 61 home runs as a milestone, as that was Roger Maris's record. Now, Barry Bonds has hit more home runs than 61. Mark McGwire's hit more home runs than 61. Sammy Sosa's hit more home runs than 61. But we all know why 61 is the milestone that Giancarlo Stanton wants to reach. What is the real home run record in your mind?
Well, a couple of things, and I'm a big fan of his.
Shout out.
That probably is the number he said. You ready for this? Because that's what he's on pace to hit, number one.
Yeah, because he's never going to hit 73, so yeah, might as well.
Okay. And like you say, don't set the expectations too high and then disappoint. I hope the new ownership group with Derek Jeter and Michael Jordan actually keep him in tow in a sport that doesn't have a salary cap. I don't know why I'm hearing rumblings about trading one of the best hitters in baseball, in particular of the long ball. But what he's basically doing is showing a level of disrespect to players, in particular Barry Bonds, who were able to have this level of success during what was coined the steroid era. But if you look at the history of baseball, they've had multiple eras where people were using things that are now banned.
Of course.
And so for Barry Bonds, who I got a chance to watch a lot with my own two eyes, was a 40-40 guy, whether he was playing with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Obviously, his helmet size got a lot bigger when he's playing with the San Francisco Giants. But again, one of the all-time great players, and when you look down at the record books, it says 73. So for me, and I know we saw Sosa, I know we saw McGwire put up 60, the record is 73. What Barry Bonds put up.
It's a human being.
That's the high score.
He's a human being. He hits 73. You got to beat 73. That's the high score in the machine. You got to get over it, Giancarlo Stanton. But I do, again, always keep expectations low. He's like, 61 is the real record, right? Now, we've got Kevin Durant and Lil Dicky, both of which have been spoken about on this program. They're going back and forth a little bit on Twitter about whether or not Cleveland should trade LeBron James. I just love the idea that Kevin Durant sees a little Dicky tweet and is like, let me respond to that. Let me get back in there. And they seem to both go back and forth. I don't think either of them knows that LeBron's got a no trade clause. Like, I don't know if Kevin Durant never really brought that up. You know, when he finds out, he's going to call his agent like, LeBron's got no trade clause? Can we make that into my deal somehow? But how much do you love Kevin Durant going back and forth with just about anybody?
I love it because if you're going to participate in social media, that clearly means you're paying attention to your mentions and you're following what's being said and what's being posted. And so for him to have an opinion, in particular about not only somebody that he considers an opponent clearly because they're both been in the NBA Finals the last 3 years playing against the NBA Finals, well, this year playing against one another, and they've done it before when he was in OKC. But obviously somebody he's looked up to. He's modeled his game after. He's went and worked out with. They play flag football together. And so it doesn't surprise me to see him playing rec ball together, and it doesn't surprise me to see KD having his back.
You know, I was thinking about this, and you've got Lil Dicky, right? He loves basketball. He loves hip-hop. He's a Caucasian American. And then you've got KD. He's a great NBA athlete. And they're going back and forth about LeBron James. And it kind of got me thinking, like, are they our replacement hosts? Is it going to go from Jalen and Jacoby when we're on vacation or something? Can we get Lil Dicky and KD in here? I think that would fit. I think that would work. I'm going to reach out to Lil Dicky's agent. I've got a Gerardo update.
Who?
Gerardo is the artist who sang Rico Suave.
Oh, Rico Suave.
He is now an executive. He's an A&R. He was responsible for Bubba Sparks. He was responsible for Enrique Iglesias. He's a youth pastor. He's doing his thing. Big shout out to him.
Shout out.
Rico Suave was so hot. And then you can't. If you're living this, if you're walking this planet and you're an American and you're over 35, you cannot pretend like you didn't like Rico Suave for at least 3 weeks. Like you cannot pretend you didn't like it for 3 weeks. Everybody liked that song for 3 weeks. You know you did.
I didn't.
Yes, you did. A song I know you're gonna love is this. Someone did a remix to Stan, and it's about Kyrie and LeBron, and it's brilliant. Let's give it a little listen.
LeBron is mad, I'm wondering why I asked for a trade at all. I scored 57 against the Spurs, but I can't please LeBron. And even if I could, he won't commit to stay. He's leaving for LA. It reminds me that it's not our cast, never was our cast.
I'm too good to commit to Cleveland.
This is a remake of Stan. It's got a video and everything, and it's about Kyrie and LeBron. It is fantastic. It is one of the greatest pieces of video I've ever seen on the internet since Dramatic Chipmunk.
I'm in the gym right now.
Let's turn up a little bit, Reg.
Next season. Hey, Bron, I want to go to the West too. You dare me to go? Stephen A. Smith said if you saw me, it would come to blows, and all I wanted was a chance to handle the ball. I hope you know.
Great idea. It's a perfect way that if you want to get your song played on the radio or shown on ESPN, name their talent, and talk about two things that we talk about all day. LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. Boss move.
It is a boss move. And it's a very high-quality video. Shout out to whoever put this together. A very high-quality video. Google it. You'll find it. So then there's this, Jalen Rose. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm sorry. He's got a nickname. What is it?
Not just knee-deep. He was gone knee-deep once he did the freak with me.
He signed over $100 million extension with the Bucks, but he's also about to be a free agent. Right now, he wears Nike sneakers. I read somewhere he gets paid $25,000. I think it must be a year, $25,000. But that deal is up. That deal is up. And he's about to be a free agent. Jalen, do you think Giannis Antetokounmpo has what it takes to sell a signature shoe?
I do. He's the perfect pitch man for a shoe. Here's why.
Really? I'm curious to hear.
Number one, he's an international prospect, so he's selling shoes not just in the United States.
I can't think of another international prospect with a very popular shoe off the top of my head. Yao Ming didn't have any shoes. Dirk doesn't have any shoes.
The other thing is, while he has the height of a big man, he doesn't have the bulk of one. Mm-hmm. And so his level of fluidity and versatility, he has an infectious smile. He has a really engaging personality. He's a terrific performer on the floor, or we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Of course.
So I almost would be shocked if we're not talking about a $100 million deal.
It will be a big deal. And then I also have this report that Adidas is hesitant to give Andrew Wiggins his own shoe, which makes me think, like, if you were Adidas, would you make that kind of a gamble on Andrew Wiggins?
If I had to choose between the two, I'm taking Greek Freak.
I'm taking Greek Freak. No one's talking about Andrew Wiggins could be a potential MVP candidate in the next couple of years, and that's the way they're talking about Greek Freak. I would definitely agree.
And then Jimmy Butler moved on the block.
Yep. And there's also something that you mentioned, like, having a signature shoe is really a mix of a lot of different variables. You know, like, first of all, it's the shoe. The shoe has to be fly. Like, people talk about, oh, Kyrie is such a great shoe. He's got this really, like, the shoe is dope, so people are going to buy it. You know, it's like, it's not just Kyrie Irving. Like, part of it is that Kyrie's shoes are very dope. You know what I mean? But there's also personality. And then you mentioned this, too. Big men don't sell shoes. Right? Like, I'd say the most popular big man that sold shoes, Shaq and Ewing both had their own brands, you know, so they both had popular shoes, especially Ewing during his heyday. But why don't big men sell shoes?
The same reason why big men usually aren't head coaches in the NBA. They unfortunately have a stigma because they're big that they can't also articulate the game to people that aren't as big as they are. And a lot of times you can see them coaching the bigs, but you can't see them leading the guards and the perimeter players. And that's an unfortunate stigma. And also, when they walk into interview, you got to think of the dynamics of the people they're interviewing with, the owners of teams. They're looking up the entire time, possibly trying to. And when you can't see eye to eye, sometimes that can be intimidating. It should not be, which is why you see more guards and more perimeter players given that opportunity. I really think that's a stigma that I would like to see big men get over. More importantly, the people that hire them, because there are a lot of guys that I feel like can do the job. Patrick Ewing comes to mind, and I think because of that stigma, that was the reason why he didn't get an NBA job and ultimately ended up at his alma mater, Georgetown.
We wish him the best at Georgetown. Something tells me that Floyd Mayweather is going to make a lot of money in a couple weeks. You know, just something tells me he's going to make a lot of money. And this is just a little example of exactly how valuable he is as an athlete commodity. He will make $25 million just from sponsorship on his clothing. $25 million just for all those different patches and sponsorships on his clothing. Can you believe that that is something that's going to happen in the real world?
I can believe it. Money Mayweather. This fight, seriously, genius for Al Heyman and Dana White to find a way to get these two combatants into the ring, Floyd and McGregor, get all of the ink signed with Showtime, get it viewed in so many homes via pay-per-view. You can go to the movie theater and watch this fight. Okay? It's been promoted like no other. And like I've said the entire time, the excitement ends once the national anthem gets played. Because Conor McGregor, with 8-ounce gloves now, really doesn't have a chance against Floyd. Because now he's going to be absorbing those punches even more. So if they were in the octagon, Floyd wouldn't have a chance. They're in a squared circle. Same for Conor.
So, Jalen, I know you're not going to be in Vegas, but I've been to Vegas with you, and I played blackjack with you. And there's a new version of blackjack that I think will really suit you. It's called Easy Blackjack. I can't believe this hasn't come up before. It's just like blackjack, except you only get one card, and the goal is not to get to 21, it's to get to 11. I saw this on the Big Lead. Shout out to the Big Lead.
Shout out.
Here's what I like about this type of blackjack. You can't ruin the table for everybody else. You know, so you get a 10, you're just going to stay on your 10. You can't double down or split or do anything crazy or, you know, like stay on a 13 when the dealer shows a 10. You can't do any of that. Do you like easy blackjack? Because I do. I want to play easy blackjack with you so you do not ruin the table.
The game is 2-11, and you get 2 cards?
You get 1 card. It's easy.
Oh, you get 1 card.
Game's 2-11, you get 1 card. So if you get a 7, it's like, I think I'm going to stay here. The dealer has to take a hit 6 or below.
I'm good. Oh, man, you get your head busted playing that game.
No, Jalen.
You get your head busted playing that game.
When we go to the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy golf outing, are we going to play blackjack, and are you going to do the same thing you did last time, which is completely play crazy?
Ask you 40.
Yep. Right now, it's time to give love to all of our listeners. We set up a voicemail. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail. If you leave us a voicemail, we'll play it on the show just like this.
What up, though? This is Rico, representing the 513 and 216, Ohio against the world. I'm sitting here at the office, calling on my office line, actual boss moves. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys for over 6 years and providing me with listening material for my first hour of work every day, consistently. But I got something important, and Reggie might want to hit the brakes. So guys, Jalen Jacoby, I personally have a $50 gift card from Costco. If by the end of this call, this is your new favorite call of 2017. That said, got a scenario for Jalen. 2 scenarios, actually. I'm trying to figure out which one he's going to roll with. So you're stuck on the island for 60 days, and you got to wait to be saved. And there's 2 options. Option A, you have a 60-day supply of lobster tails, and you got a fire pit because you know you got to have it well done, of course. But the flip, for entertainment, you have nothing but Game of Thrones to watch. Now, option B, you have a 60-day supply of grasshopper tacos, cultural grasshopper tacos. However, for entertainment for 60 days, Jalen, you have nothing but power to get you through your day and night. So yeah, which one you rolling with? All right, I'm out. Stay low, keep firing.
Rico, great call, first of all. So just to recap, because Rico's a little long-winded there. Love Rico. I like people that call from work, too. Anytime that you're listening to J&J at work, it's a boss move.
And also, he says he listened to it every day the first hour
The first
at work.
hour. Yeah, because that first
That's
hour, you don't
a
really get
CEO
anything done.
move.
You're just looking at emails and looking around the internet. So you're 60 days on an island, right? You can only eat lobster, but you only have Game of Thrones for entertainment. Or you can only eat grasshopper tacos, cultural, and you have power for entertainment. Which one are you going with?
First off, if I'm on the island, I'm happy to be eating anything.
Good point.
So those grasshopper tacos, they sound real nice right about now.
Oh, so you're going with the power in the grasshopper tacos? See, you've already seen power, and it takes about 60 days to catch up with Game of Thrones. I thought you would go the other way with that one. I'm also glad that he gave you a fire pit, because it can also keep you warm. Thank you, Rico, for the call. Shout to Ohio. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hey, Jalen Jacoby, this is your boy Paul from Queens. Just need to know 2 things. Now, statues. Now, Madison Square Garden don't got a statue. So I'm trying to think, who would you put as the all-time great Nick outside? And number 2, Jalen, would you ever think of coaching the Wolverines? Keep giving the people what they want.
Thank you for reaching out. Appreciate the call. The Wolverines have a coach that I respect, John Beilein.
I love when you do this.
I'm actually going to possibly be on campus for the game against Air Force because he and John Harbaugh invited myself and the rest of the Fab Five. I think it's September 16th.
Okay.
With that being said, if I was going to take a coaching job, who wouldn't want to coach their alma mater?
Sure. Especially when it's the great Wolverines. Because what is my number one thing for new professional positions?
Keep the expectations low.
Exactly. So the Wolverines' expectations are pretty low right now. You don't want to follow Calipari at Kentucky. You know what I mean? but if the Wolverines are coming off a down season and someone just got fired, you can sneak in there and everyone's be happy with a 500 season. Then you can blame someone else's recruits for a couple of years. You can do that, and then on year 3, you gotta start producing.
And I have to answer the most important question. This is actually an easy one for me.
Oh, really?
There is no reason the New York Knickerbockers shouldn't have a statue of Walt Clyde
That's
Frazier
what I was thinking, too.
in front of MSG.
See, Walt Clyde Frazier might not be the greatest Knick of all time, but he's still in the building at every home game. You have to give him the post-career love for sticking with the franchise. He's in MSG every time the Knicks take the floor, whether he's playing or whether he's doing play-by-play. I definitely was thinking Walt Clyde Frazier as well. I thought someone wanted to say Ewing, but come on now. Come on. I would say Walt Clyde Frazier. Not Willis Reed, not Patrick Ewing. Walt Clyde Frazier. Not Billy Joel. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Hi, Jalen and Jacoby. It's Graham. I have two quick ones for you. The first one, soft move or the boss move. I see all these celebrities, they're wearing sunglasses, they go sit courtside at the game. I don't care how cool you are. What kind of a knucklehead are you? You're indoors. You're at least 600 feet inside the arena. There's no sunlight. Take your sunglasses off. Be a normal human being for a little bit. And number two, now that LeVar Ball got smoked by Ice Cube, can we ask him to just sit down? Maybe Steph Curry lends him a rangefinder and a GPS so he knows which direction the basketball hoop is in because he couldn't find it. I would beat him out there at that point. Have a nice day. Thank you, Reggie. Goodbye.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate the love.
Shout out.
A couple of things I want to address here.
Was that his real voice?
You don't think that was his real voice?
No, I don't think that was his real voice. But maybe. I don't know. But continue to address whatever you want to address.
What was the first question again? You threw off my train of thought.
Okay, the second question was about LeVar Ball. The first question was soft move or boss move, sunglasses courtside. I'm so proud of myself for remembering that.
First and foremost, if you're going to be sitting courtside, that means you can also afford the tent that comes with, if you're outdoors, it's going to be darker. And if you're indoors, they're going to be lighter. They're called transitional lenses.
That's a soft move. My wife had those. They're so corny.
I have those, and I like them a lot.
Oh, no. I didn't know you had transitional lenses. My wife had those, and she had to replace them after 3 days. I was making fun of her so much. But continue.
That stops you from having 2 or 3 different pair of glasses, and it eliminates what the caller was just describing.
I can't believe you have transitional lenses.
I can rock my Cazelles outdoors when it's 90 degrees, and I can watch them in the Staples Center when I answer the second question. Always talk about the score of the game and the game of life.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about the fact that LeVar Ball was on the floor. Big shout to Ice Cube and the Big Three, making noise in NBA arenas across the country, star-studded affairs, and all the players that participated. The game of life was that there were people standing around cheering and watching him. And he never played basketball in college or pro.
I loved it, too. That was not a shootout either. You also have to understand, as a producer, I'm a producer. Like, if someone said to me, all right, and then at halftime we're going to have Ice Cube and LeVar Ball do a 4-point contest, I'm like, wait a second. That's not going to look right. Let's just have them shoot 15-footers. You know what I mean? Let's make this a little more exciting because I don't want to see these two guys brick after brick after brick after brick. And then the boss move from LeVar was when Ice Cube made one, he tried to take credit for it. He tried to take credit for one. He was like, that was me. That was my ball. That was my ball. I liked it. That was kind of a boss move. Thank you so much for the call. I hope that is your real voice. I appreciate it, Kramer.
In the same arena, his son just got drafted number 2 overall to play in next year and just won Summer League MVP. I'm just saying.
Appreciate the call. Sunglasses inside, always a soft move, unless you're Jalen Rose. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Transitional lenses.
Transitional lenses, soft move.
Hey, fellas. I hope y'all are doing well. My name is Israel from Austin, Texas. And I wanted to ask this question to both of y'all, kind of deep. So y'all have a lot more life experience than I do. And my cousin told me the other day that he didn't really know what he wanted to do with his life at about age 19. And I wanted to know, what kind of advice would you give someone in that sort of situation? It was difficult for me because a lot of opportunities kind of lined up my way at the right time. So I kind of got to bypass a lot of things. But for someone who is young, not yet a young adult, going to college, and they don't really know what they want to do, what kind of advice would you offer them? Thanks. Take care.
I've got a good one for that. So there's a few things, right? A lot of people say, like, oh, follow your passion and do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Well, you know what? Like, drinking smoothies isn't a profession. You know, so like it's not just about following your passion. It's about understanding your passions, finding what would make you happy, and then also doing what you have to do to pay the bills in the meantime. And one piece of advice I got is work really hard and opportunities will present themselves for you. There's a direct correlation between how hard and how seriously you take your work and the opportunities that come down the road. So if you are working the drive-thru at McDonald's, there's nothing wrong with working the drive-thru at McDonald's, but you have to make sure that your fries are right, your order's right, your uniform looks good. You take that very seriously, and you will see that more opportunities will open up for you, even though it doesn't seem like working the drive-thru at McDonald's is going to lead to being a CEO of a major corporation.
Preach, my brother. That was A+. I just want to piggyback on that by saying do what you need to until you put yourself in a position to actually do what you can.
Exactly.
A lot of times, dreams don't come true. For the majority of us, they don't come true.
Huge majority.
The people who are fortunate enough, like myself, to be able to say, I wanted to make it to the NBA one day, and it happens, that represents 1% of the population. So what does everybody else have to do? What you can to pay your bills. Adults live where they work, and therefore you have to be the best version of yourself at whatever your calling is in order to put yourself in a position to improve your scenario. And I'll quote the great American philosopher, Ricky Rose. Appreciate your position while plotting your promotion.
I always thought that was you. I always thought that was you.
Work as hard as you can and be the best you can at whatever you're called upon to do right now. And that puts you in a position to get the next opportunity. It's like people who don't have the kind of money that they want or walk over a penny or walk over a nickel. You know what I'll do? I'll pick up both. Because in my head, it creates a snowball of positivity. And I like that snowball of positivity to the point where it makes me ask the questions, when are they going to start printing the 20 Harriet Tubmans?
Thank you so much for your very realistic life advice. Guess what? Your dreams probably won't come true. So put your head down and work hard. Stay low, keep firing. Right now, we're going to open up that 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed because we have a simple motto in this program. First question is from Alberto Rosales. He says, this is my favorite. This is so good. I saw this on my Twitter feed, and I was like, I hope they pick this for the show. Who would win a game of one-on-one? Do-rag Jalen or old man Jalen? So let me get this scouting report.
Definitely do-rag Jalen.
Yeah, do-rag Jalen fouls a lot. He's like Oakley in the Big Three. Like, do-rag Jalen, he's fouling a lot. If you call a foul on him, he gets real loud and he yells at you with cigarette breath.
And also, like, old man Jalen's too disciplined, too responsible. He's thinking about professional responsibilities.
Yeah, setting a good example for the kids.
Founder of a charter high school, parent.
Old man Jalen, he's just too worried. Do-rag Jalen doesn't care. You have to be a little wild to win a game one-on-one. Do-rag Jalen cheats. Do you know what?
Can't keep the score correct.
Old man Jalen would probably quit when he was down 4-0 because he didn't want to be associated with do-rag Jalen's sportsmanship. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's a good one. Thank you so much.
That's a great one.
Next, we have this from Chase Farmer. Should the NBA change its dress code, we need to see LeBron in a do-rag and Melo score 100 in a hoodie.
We've talked about that on this fine program. The bottom line is this. LeBron should petition the NBA to wear a do-rag.
Mm-hmm. And Melo should be able to wear a hoodie.
And Melo should be able to rock a hoodie.
As long as he's in New York. He's like, if you're going to keep me in New York, they're not going to trade me, I'm going to wear a hoodie. They should just let him do it. They really should. Next, we have a 0-100 from Cameron. Cameron wants to know, 0-100, chances Anthony Davis wins MVP this year? 4?
You said 0-100?
Yeah. 4%?
14.
Yeah, not that high. Not that high.
He'll be all NBA.
Yeah, he's good.
Because he's a terrific young talent. He's one of the more unique talents because he's going to place like the Greek freak in points and rebounds and blocks and steals amongst the top 20, 25, but at some point his team's got to be about winning. And this is going to be his first year playing with Boogie. Drew Holiday re-signed. They added Rajon Rondo. Let's see if they can make a playoff run.
This is one of those NBA seasons we're going into it. Like, I could see 8 different players winning MVP. Like, for real. I can see 8 or 9 different players winning MVP, and, like, 3 of them are on the Warriors.
My choice off top, Kawhi Leonard.
I like that. I like that. They literally have no one else on the team that can score, so he'll get some buckets.
And they're going to still have 55 wins.
I don't know how. I don't see it. You know what? I say this every year. I'm going to say it again this year. This is the year the Spurs fall off the cliff. This is it. This is the year the Spurs fall off the cliff. I'm wrong about it every single year, but I'll be wrong about it again. This is the year the Spurs are like the number 5 seed in the West. Next, this is from Ping. Shout to him. He always sends us good questions. Soft move or boss move? Pretending to be talking on your phone when you see someone you don't want to talk to.
Boss move.
Oh, for real? Do you pretend you're listening or do you pretend you're talking? That's the big distinction for me. If you're actually holding a fake conversation, it's a soft move. If you're just fake listening, it's a boss move. Your thoughts, Mr. Rose?
I'm playing a song in my head. Dr. Dre. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. It's definitely a boss move because a lot of times people forget the fact that you're out on the move, and I'm out on the move for a reason. We're both trying to get somewhere.
Yeah, we're not just going for walks, you know? I'm not going for a walk to clear my head.
And if you stop to talk to everybody that wants to get your attention, you can't get where you're trying to go in a timely fashion.
Well, see, you're famous, though. We're talking for real people that you're actually seeing somebody. But what you do is you acknowledge them, but then you point at your phone. Like, I do that a lot. Like, so you're famous, everybody knows you, so people want to stop you and take pictures or whatever and, like, treat you like a zoo animal. But when I'm walking the streets and I see someone that I actually know, I will just hold my phone up and then point to it like, oh, this is the reason I'm not talking to you, when really in the back of my head, I'm not talking to you because I don't want to. I apologize to everyone I've ever done that to.
No, you don't.
Next, this is more of a clarification, something that we had wrong for a while. Hoop Life says, why is MJ called the only minority owner in the NBA? How about Vivek? We had that one wrong for a while. Appreciate the correction. Now we have this. This, also from Cameron,
shout out,
is pretty good. Soft move or boss move? That guy who talks to you in the bathroom regardless of you performing a number 1 or number 2.
Soft move.
I love boss move by using the verb performing. I like the verb performing there. But you can own it. Like, sometimes I'll own it. You know what I mean? If I know someone's in the stall and I know them, I'll kind of like make an uncomfortable conversation with them just to kind of like make them feel weird. But I'll not just like have a casual like pretend nothing weird is going on conversation. I will not do that in the bathroom. All right, Reg. Oh, by the way, did you pay Reggie back for his Big 3 ticket? You said you were going to pay for Reggie's Big 3 ticket.
We got that together.
Oh, you got that together? Venmo? Bitcoin?
When you guys are in the bathroom, do you ask him, is he doing a soft move?
Why is that so funny to me? I'm like my 4-year-old son. Next time I'm going to the bathroom, I'll be like, oh, it's a boss move.
And Q gonna be like, soft move.
Reed wants to know, if the Thunder fail to improve, do we finally call out Billy Donovan? Why does he get a pass in not managing Russ the way Phil J did for MJ?
Hit the brakes. Hit the brakes. Not managing Russ.
He just won the MVP. He averaged a triple-double. It's just like he managed him just fine. What did you want? You want him to score less? You want him to do less? You want him to not be the MVP?
Right.
I think by managing Russ, he means play more team-oriented game. But if you look at the roster, they're not, seems like the best thing is to give Russ the ball and see what happens.
When you were watching them play against Houston in the playoffs, and you saw the roster, in particular, players on the perimeter, you were like, if I was Russ, I'd be shooting it every time, too.
Here's my question for you now. If you're Russell Westbrook, you did the impossible. Only Jalen Rose and like his immediate family were the only people in the world that thought he could actually average a triple-double in the National Basketball Association. I literally thought it was impossible. I was wrong. Jalen Rose, you were right. But now that he's climbed that mountain and he's checked that box, how do you think his stats will change next year?
He shouldn't lead the team in rebounds.
I don't think he will. I don't think he'll get as many rebounds off the free throws. I don't think you'll see him like hounding rebounds the way he did last year. And I think you'll see the assists go down too. He doesn't want to pass to these guys. He really doesn't. He was just doing it to get 10. Like once he got to 10 in the third quarter, no more assists for you guys.
But what's amazing is how multiple games he was getting triple doubles before halftime.
That was crazy. Like that. That's crazy.
That's insane.
And also, I'd be shocked if the Thunder didn't improve. They added Paul George, and they didn't give up too much at all. Like, they got Paul George on the team. They're going to improve. Paul George is a great basketball player. This is from Anthony. Do you think LeBron going to the Western Conference next year would finally prompt the NBA to get rid of or restructure conferences?
I think if LeBron ended up in the West in the next 1 or 2 years, you'll hear something that I've talked about on this program for 6 years.
Seeding. Yep.
Have to be considered 1 through 16 seeding.
And just remember, because it's a great idea, just remember where you heard it first, Jalen Jacoby. Because you'll see. There's going to be a lot of every year, right around the end of the regular season, you look at the matchups, you say, oh, what if it was 1 through 16? Look how much better it would be. Oh, look, it was 1 through 16. Look how much better it would be. You'll see. Next, this is from Harley. I like people that get crazy with this. I sound crazy, but what if, because we love what ifs, LeBron joined Houston to form a super mega team of Melo, CP3, Harden, and LBJ? Your thoughts?
At this point, that doesn't seem far-fetched.
Really? But here's the thing, it's like, I don't think LeBron James is taking a salary haircut. You know, like I don't think that's on his to-do list. Like it's like you're going to pay me the max. Dwayne Wade, if you want to join the team, you can take the salary cut. But me, I'm LeBron. I'll probably get the max.
But LeBron is playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers, and I don't think he's going to uproot his family from Ohio to take them to Texas. I think if and when, as we've talked about on this program, he leaves the Cleveland Cavaliers after the season, it's going to be for the purple and gold in Los Angeles.
Jalen Rose?
Yes, sir.
We have a segment called Keep It Moving. Because there's a lot going on in the world of sports. Some things are worth discussing. Some things are not. If it's worth discussing, we're going to hit the brakes.
Okay.
If it's not, we're going to keep it moving. So right now, we're going to attempt an all-football Keep It Moving or hit the brakes. Are you ready?
Let's get it.
The Titans changed practice time for solar eclipse. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
I'm so glad you hit the brakes on that one. Titans coach Mike Mularkey said he will change the team's practice time so his players can watch the eclipse on Monday afternoon. Quote, what a cool experience. You're on the practice field. I rearranged the practice schedule to make sure that we were out there to see it. I have a lot of follow-up questions for you, Mr. Rose. Number one, did you know that this solar eclipse was happening?
I did not, sir.
I did not either. I did not either. I started hearing about it. Number two, do you know what a solar eclipse is?
Yeah, I do.
I could guess, but like I'm not that confident. I believe a solar eclipse is when the moon goes in front of the sun and blocks it.
Correct.
Okay. Yes.
That's right.
And I remember in school they made us all go outside to watch this thing. Didn't live up to the hype. Did not live up to the hype. It was like, oh, wait, a cloud basically went in front of the sun. Like, nothing cool happened. I thought it was going to be dark. I thought aliens were going to land.
A rainbow is way more fun than seeing a solar eclipse.
Like, the solar eclipse, if I was a Titans fan, I'd be like, y'all practice. You know what I mean? Run some go routes. Like,
but you got to understand the mental manipulation that comes with that. He's like, it's going to be a special year for us.
It's going to be a special, yeah, the solar eclipse, the power of the sun. Come on, Mike Mularkey.
Mariota going to ball this year.
There's a lot of fascinating, mind-boggling things about Mother Nature. Solar eclipse, not one of them. You know? Like, come on, solar eclipse. No. Don't make me come outside from 4th grade and look up at the sky. No, don't look directly at it. You've got to use this little thing to look at it.
But it was great to get out of the classroom and do jaw season.
Shout out. The Colts center Ryan Kelly to undergo foot surgery and miss 6 to 8 weeks. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
Keep it moving. Get well soon.
The Lions move rookie wide receiver Galladay into the starting lineup. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Keep it moving. We lost Calvin Johnson. Still trying to get over that.
Bears rookie quarterback Trubinsky stays level-headed after strong debut. Can we talk about that one? Wait, this is the headline, stays level-headed? Like, he played well in a preseason game for like 2 drives. And now there's a headline that he stayed level-headed. Like, what was he supposed to do? Go to Canton?
It's what happens when we overinflate a moment, a quarter, a half, a game, especially in the preseason. After he played his first game, people already had him in the Hall of Fame.
He's not even in the starting lineup, let alone the Hall of Fame. Like, Mike Lennon's like, I'm the starter, right? You know I'm the starter. Pay me this much money.
I don't like to project, but Jimmy Garoppolo for the Patriots, playing really well in that system. Mm-hmm. Seen a lot of people perform well for the Patriots. Mm-hmm. Then when they leave the Patriots, whether because they got traded or because they thought the grass was greener, they didn't perform as well. We shall see if he falls into that category over the next year or so.
Steelers linebacker James Harrison is fine with a backup role.
Hit the brakes. First off, his nickname is Debo.
Debo.
So Mike Tomlin had to bring him in the office and be like, yo, big fella.
He told security
I'm
before the meeting.
I'm not going to tell you this in front of the team.
Yeah, he told security before the meeting. He's like, listen, if you hear any loud yelling, just come through the door.
No, he had HR in the office with him.
They were there. And the thing about this, which I know stings, is J.J. Watt's little brother took his spot. T.J. Watt, J.J. Watt's little brother took his spot. And something tells me that makes it even worse.
He had 2 sacks in his first preseason game. Mm-hmm. Again, preseason game.
Do you think James Harrison is really fine with a backup role, helping the team wherever he can, knowing that someone will get injured or whatever? Or do you think he just knows that's the right thing to say on wax?
No, at this point of his career, I ain't trying to play all of them snaps.
Yeah, he's like, I'm fine.
Go ahead and get out there, young fella.
I'm fine. I'll be
over here practice reps, too.
I'll be playing medicine ball volleyball. Yeah,
no question.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I got backup practice reps? No problem.
No doubt.
Problem. He's fine. He's
a seasoned vet. He ain't tripping.
He also knows, he's like, listen, it's not like I'm going to sit the bench the whole year. Someone's going to get injured. Someone's not going to perform well. When I get in there, I'll be great. This is fine.
And also, this is why I want to bury certain terms in sports. His check is going to be exactly the same.
Okay. Alex Smith's agent says that he will remain in demand. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Ooh.
Andy Reid has done a great job of nurturing quarterbacks his entire career. Mm-hmm. Donovan McNabb in particular comes to mind, who should or will be in the Hall of Fame soon. And Alex Smith, I give him props because one of the most bold moves I've seen a coach make was Jim Harbaugh when he decided when Smith was hurt to not give him his job back.
Yep.
Because while Smith is accurate, he's not the kind of guy that you see that possibly can lead your team to a Super Bowl. He made that move, and they actually made it there with Colin Kaepernick, who hasn't been the same since Harbaugh left. So for Alex Smith to go to Kansas City and still put up the efficient numbers, yes, he's not going to be the guy that throws the ball all over the lot. He's not a guy that's going to throw the ball deep. He's going to dink and dunk a lot. But when you look down,
he's not going to get the highlights, but he's going to get the wins. And
all
also,
I know
he's
is
like
he
Patrick
really does,
Mahomes.
he takes care of the football.
He's like Patrick Mahomes. Like, okay, he might be good in 2021, but right now he's learning how to speak the language and run the team. So I ain't worried about Patrick Mahomes right now.
My completion percentage is around 60, 65%. I got this.
Cleveland and Canton are both bidding to co-host the NFL draft in 2019 or 2020. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Keep it moving. Nobody cares who hosts the draft.
Guy Fieri and Beast Mode were hanging out at the Raiders Hotel.
Hit the brakes.
Do you know who Guy Fieri is?
I don't. That's why I want you to hit the brakes.
I love you so much. Guy Fieri is a very important figure in culinary pursuits. He's got a very popular television called Diners, Drive-In, and Dives. It's a good watch. It's a good watch. It's a travel show where he goes to restaurants. He's a chef, and he goes behind and kind of learns how they cook their stuff, and he takes everybody to Flavor Town.
This totally makes sense. In California, where medicinal is legal. Good job, Beast Mode.
Yeah.
Free munchies.
I think the Guy Fieri was literally actually cooking at the time when Beast Mode came over. Josh Gordon is no closer to reinstatement to the NFL. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
keep it moving. But it is ironic that he failed a couple of drug tests and he got a couple of years for smoking marijuana, yet Ezekiel Elliott allegedly committed domestic violence and got 6 games.
Mm-hmm. Saints fire 2 doctors who failed to diagnose a fractured leg. They thought it was a bone bruise.
Hit the brakes. When you're in the kitchen, you can't mix up the difference between a steak and a piece of chicken.
Yep.
It's what they do for a living.
It is. And whenever, like, you fracture something and they hold the x-ray up and they go, hey, see right there? And I'm like, no, I don't see right there.
You tell me what it says.
They always do that. They're always like, yo, you see right there? You see that little line? I'm like, no, I don't see that. That could
don't
be some
try to get me to co-sign this.
Yeah, it's like, I don't see that.
You
this
diagnose
is what I do.
me.
You tell me what's wrong here.
Right. I'm not your aide or assistant. Diagnose me.
One interesting little wrinkle on this. Also, the same doctors for the New Orleans Pelicans.
It's interesting because they got a few injury-prone players. Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis come to mind.
Jalen Rose, Floyd Mayweather is going to bet himself in this fight. He's going to bet on himself in this fight. Should that be legal? How is that possible, and how much do you think he's going to bet?
It's definitely legal. It should be possible. I saw the headline of an individual who's already placed a major bet on the fight.
I think it was $880,000, and you had to have 2 people put it in. I think there's a $500,000 limit, but he's only going to make like $120,000 or something. It just seems, I don't know if I would do that. I don't know who's got that kind of money. Who's got that kind of money? Like, anything could happen. Floyd Mayweather breaks a rib or something, and all of a sudden he has to not fight anymore. He could trip on his way in and hurt his ankle. Like, I wouldn't put up $880,000 to win just a little bit.
But if I'm fighting, I might as well put all my chips on the table.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to win.
I'm gonna make $300 million off of this. Guess what? I lose my bet. I still make $299 million. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be fine. And plus, he just wants to show the ticket. You know, he's just doing this so he can. I promise you. How long? How about this? How long until after the decision or the knockout is announced does he tweet the ticket that he bid on himself?
Before he does interviews. He's going to go
It's already there. He's going to go right to his phone. He's going to be trying to post it with his boxing gloves on. He's just going to be punching it. Is it a soft move or a boss move, though? I can't tell.
That's a boss move. Betting on yourself? No question.
So, Martin Shkreli, the pharma bro, he's come up on this program a lot, mainly because he spent $1 million on a Wu-Tang album and then kind of leaked some of the songs and keeping it from the people. He's generally just a terrible person. I think, like, he's universally hated from all people. There are jurors being selected for his trial, and multiple jurors have excused themselves from the jury because they say he disrespected Wu-Tang. So they're no longer unbiased jurors. Have you ever been to jury duty, and how did you get out of it?
I have not.
You've never been to jury duty?
And I will not.
Wait a second. You've never been to jury duty?
Never.
Have you ever been asked to go to jury duty?
Yes.
Do you know it's illegal not to go to jury duty, right? It's not called jury volunteer day. You know what I mean? It's not called jury if you feel like it. It's called jury duty. It's your civic duty, and you are not ever going to do it.
You know what my civic duty is? To pay taxes.
And I'm sure that they got a lot of your taxes. I can't lie. Last time I went, I was like, wait, you have to stay here till 4? And I just walked out of the door. I went,
how long?
I signed up, and I was like, wait, till 4 p.m.? I was like, I'm going to go get some lunch. And then I didn't come back.
I don't want to be responsible of the fate of somebody, whether they're locked up or not.
I did jury duty in Brooklyn. It was like 3 blocks from my house. I could just walk there. It was no problem. And I was on a trial, and you end up on the most boring trials. It was like a car accident. It was like a fender bender car accident where, like, it was obviously just a money grab. They made us sit there for an entire day and hear all the details of this stupid car accident just so they could settle in between day 1 and day 2.
I'm good.
Have you ever heard of the Texas State Fair, Mr. Rose?
The Texas State Fair? I have not.
It's a big state fair. I went there once. They had fried butter, fried Coca-Cola. They've got fried everything. This year, they have a very interesting item. It's called the Surfin' Turkin Tater Boat. It is a steak, cheese, butter, and lobster-filled baked potato with an extra lobster claw in a big pot of garlic butter for dipping. Are you interested in the Surfin' Turkin Tater Boat?
Have to have some adult beverages, then I'll go for it.
You would never eat that thing. But somehow you would eat it and still lose weight. I don't know how you do that. Jalen Rose, this is big news for you. What's your favorite Sunday night television program?
Power.
Who is the rapper / executive that is responsible for this program being on Stars?
Curtis Jackson.
Also known as 50 Cent. Well, he always kind of stays in the news. He's got a little beef with Stars. He wants Stars to promote the show. I don't know what he wants. He wants more power. He wants more seasons.
We can
more
relate.
Episodes.
We got the best show in the industry.
He just
we
wants
feel
more.
like we need more promotion.
He just
That's
wants
why
more.
we call ourselves Pop the Trump.
But one thing we're not doing is we're not leaking episodes of our own lines, subverting the network that pays us. So 50 Cent is now admitting that he's leaked Power episodes online before they've hit the air. I don't even know if this is real. Like, he might not have leaked it and he's taking credit for it. What is really happening? Can you translate all of this for me to tell me what's really happening in 50 Cent's mind?
What's really happening is he feels like they're not getting the market and promotion they deserve. So now, because of this conversation, we're talking about it.
Mm-hmm. I feel like he might not have leaked it. There's a part of me that he's just like taking credit for it, trying to make it seem like it's this big marketing move. But then he's calling up Stars and be like, honestly, it wasn't me. Like, you can check the IP address or whatever. Like, I don't even know how to leak an episode.
All I know is this: I must get you to watch Power. There are 2 episodes remaining. You're Tommy.
We'll see. I know you saw this first pitch in Boston. I think it was a fan, I mean, we've all seen the bad first pitches. 50 Cent himself that we were just talking about, he had a terrible first pitch. But this one is particularly interesting because there was a photographer behind home plate, and he took it in the man parts. Jalen, will it ever get old watching dudes get hit in the man region?
It's been old. I don't enjoy that visual.
America's Funniest Home Videos has made billionaires off of this. Like, they're on the air for 20 years just because it's funny. It's always funny.
I don't want to see another guy get hit in his family jewels.
It's always funny. I know you laughed when you first saw it. You're trying to be cool on television. I know you laughed.
I didn't laugh. I was trying to figure. I know he was holding the camera, but you clearly see the ball coming, right?
Exactly. He got a really good picture too. He put it up online of like the catcher reaching and miss it, the ball heading right for him. He got a great shot. He's committed to his job. I'm not that committed to this program. Making it past 3 years as the Detroit Piston head coach makes Stan Van Gundy the longest tenured Piston coach since the late, great Chuck Daly. Are you surprised that Stan Van is the longest tenured Pistons head coach since Chuck Daly?
It's not just about the Detroit Pistons. I'm pretty sure you could go down the line in the NBA, period, and couldn't really acknowledge multiple coaches that's been in their current position with that team, say, 5 years. No. It's only a handful that come to mind. Coach Pop, Rick Carlisle, Eric Spoelstra, that have had tenure in their current situation. Those jobs have been turned over constantly. And by the way, Colin Kaepernick is on the phone like, Mark Jackson ain't coaching nowhere yet?
Everyone kept their jobs last year. Nothing opened up. Drake was at UCLA playing pickup in full Kentucky uniform. Soft move or boss move, wearing a full uniform playing pickup?
Boss move. As a matter of fact, I'm going to hit up Coach Cal and try to get me some gear.
Soft move. That is a soft. You cannot. Honestly, I would play with no shirt on if I had to play in a full uniform. I would just play with no shirt on. I can't
Jacoby,
do that. I cannot
I
do
played
that.
basketball with you and the Podfather at Staples Center and did the exact same thing.
And it was a soft move then, and it would be a soft move if we did it again. And for those of you who don't know, the Podfather baseline, 13 feet, like 80%. The Podfather's got one spot in the floor, and you give him the ball there, you can just run back on defense. It's going in. Shout out to the Podfather. Aaron Rodgers follows just 6 accounts on Instagram. One of those accounts is Zaza Pachulia. What does that mean?
You probably met him at the ESPYs.
Good point. Let's move on. This is bad news for you, Jalen Rose. One of your favorite establishments, Hooters, is hitting on hard financial times. The report is that millennials are no longer into what Hooters is serving, if you know what I mean. And now 7% of their stores have closed. Jalen, please make an appeal to millennials to save Hooters.
They're going to strip clubs.
Oh, God. If they don't cancel us, we'll be back tomorrow. He is Jalen Rose. I'm Dave Jacoby. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio.
Big shout out to
Hooters.
Hooters.
Forget
best crab legs.
To subscribe.